But the greatest value of the internet for me is access to information. I can have help with complex issues on debts, international debt, such as the vulture funds. I can share resources that have been prepared by others on PowerPoint or visuals or detailed statistics, just through the click of a mouse. And our National Office of Jubilee Debt Campaign in London, Jubilee Scotland, Jubilee USA, and Jubilee Oregon have all been particularly supportive, and they're regularly in touch with JDC Birmingham. And I can't stress enough the importance of that sense of solidarity, not just in the UK now, but we've become a global movement. And we've also beginning to work particularly with all the faith groups. And we become so inclusive of age, ethnicity, and so on. And I'm sure that the internet has played a very, very significant role in overcoming these huge injustices. And I have to say, you know, that the traditional media have, on the whole, neglected global poverty and special interests and special justice interests. Yeah, okay, we might get a couple of lines here and there in The Guardian, and the Birmingham Post and one or two other thinking papers have covered some of it, but we do feel that we've been neglected in the past. But my other use of online activities has just begun, and I must say it's becoming very enjoyable. I have, for example, returned to teaching. I have signed up with theschooloferything.com, and I've begun to teach students how to grow their own food. So how more grassroots and basic can you get than, you know, helping people to feed themselves? And at the School of Everything, it's a concept where you bring people who want to learn something together with those who've got a skill to share. And there are 20,000 odd members now across the globe, and it covers every conceivable subject which it's legal to teach. My first student, for example, was from Slovenia. She was a grandmother who wanted to interest her grandchildren in growing things. And I was happy to supply email, photographs and notes on sprouting salad seeds on the kitchen windowsill. And even in January, she emailed back, you know, on how great this was and so on. And that experience of School of Everything has led me on to other things. And one that I'm just is another Channel 4 project in the land share scheme. And this was really interesting because my first experience with School of Everything was to link with somebody who was thousands of miles away. But when I put in my postcode for the land share, I was completely confounded because the person who wanted help was actually in the very next road. So this, you know, really challenged me and gave me, this is a whole new meaning for being neighbours on the net, and it was a literal thing. But we have to keep in mind all the time with social media the face-to-face, we're all in this room now, and we're in contact, but we've got to make that link into social media. And I thought, with your permission, I'd like to end with a little bit of fun and ask you if you could raise your hand, please, if you have a Facebook page. All right. That's very interesting. Thank you. Now, in the course of this presentation, I have mentioned Jubilee Debt Campaign, and hopefully I have raised your awareness. But in campaigning, it's no use just to raise your awareness unless you take it to the next step and you actually take action. So I wonder if I can issue 2 challenges to you. When you go back to your Facebook page, would you look out for Jubilee Debt Campaign Facebook group? Perhaps you could look at our national web page. Our blog page is up there for you to see. But the second request is a little bit more expensive. And it will challenge you, and it costs £5. It's one of our fairly traded rainbow scarves. And I've got quite a few here. And this was suggested by one of our London members a few weeks ago. And he's changed his photo on Facebook to one wearing a scarf and challenged his friends to do the same. And I could see some of you smiling here and thinking, well, that's a stupid idea. But it's these fun, slightly off-the-wall ideas which are so key to campaigning. And can I just remind you that in 1998, we invited campaigners to come to Birmingham and hold hands for 10 minutes. Now, how crazy is that? But we were surrounding the G8 leaders, and 70,000 or more people did literally come and form a human chain and hold hands. But what is more important is that that action has now led to $100 billion of debt being cancelled for the world's poorest countries. And the Jubilee movement from that seminal moment in Birmingham has now gone global. Now, I am very, very optimistic that with the help of social media, even more can be achieved, not only in our own neighbourhood, like the lady in the next road, but also across the UK and the world. So I hope I end on an optimistic note, and thank you very much for listening.